I call to order the emergency meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, June 25th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. And the topic tonight is city potable and non-potable water supplies, and we're gonna go to Mary.
Yes, if I can please read the declaration that you signed right before this meeting. And that declaration reads, whereas pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 418.108, I hereby issue a declaration of local state of disaster due to a public health emergency for possible contamination of the city's potable water supply. And whereas a local Aransas Pass business may have had a chemical backflow into the city's water supply system. And whereas I have determined that extraordinary measures must be taken to alleviate the suffering of people and to protect the public health and safety. And whereas the city and the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality are closely working together to resolve this public health emergency. Effective immediately and continuing until further notice, no use of potable water. Potable water shall not be used for drinking, cooking, bathing, brushing teeth, or used for pets. Water may be used for washing clothes and flushing toilets only. Mr. Edwards?
Yes, we're going to break this meeting into 3 different segments. And the first segment, Mayor and Council, is an overview of what's been happening today. That will be given by Fernando Quintanilla, the Public Works Director. After that, we'll be talking about the testing procedures that are going to be necessary, required, mandatory, and also the steps that are being taken. And these are not finalized yet. These are evolving as we talk right now, how to get the test results to the certified and approved, TCEQ approved testing facility so that we can find out exactly what is in the water. That is, as I said, yet to be determined. That discussion of the procedure we're going through with the testing and the transportation of the testing results will be presented to you by EOC Director Lynn Pierce, Captain Lynn Pierce, Assistant Police Chief. So that's the way we're going to break up the meeting, and after that, then I'm sure you'll have questions of these gentlemen who have been working on this all day and even longer than all day. So Fernando, if you don't mind coming forward and give us an overview of what this is all about.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So as you all might have heard already, we have possible cross-contamination issue. A business coming into town might have had some chemical backflow into our system. This was yesterday afternoon. During inspections, there was no backflow preventer, so immediately staff shut the water off. After that, they started doing CSIs and checking to see if there's any possible contaminations and so forth, and did more investigating. Took samples to the lab yesterday. The lab takes 7 days to get us those results. TCQ came in this morning and wanted to do further investigation with the city and looking at everything. Just as a precaution, they wanted us to put the notice out not to use water in case something could have gotten into our system. We don't know if it did or not. Hopefully nothing did, but as a precaution, because we don't know if it did or not, for the safety of everybody, we have to do this. It's state regulated. So that's where we're at now. Staff is currently out there right now with TCQ still taking samples all throughout town and gathering that information. And once we get those samples, that's what we're looking at, the next portion of how we're going to logistically get them to the lab that's approved and get them back to us as soon as possible so we can hopefully lift this no use notice. But that's kind of the rundown where it's at. This business is not in operations, but when the staff noticed during the inspections that there was no backflow, they immediately shut it down. It's on a dead end line, so that line was flushed. The entire section of line has been shut off as well, just as further precaution. So we're just waiting now on what the results come back. Any questions?
What kind of chemical are we talking about?
Antifreeze. It's used for a fire suppression system.
Okay.
Where is the testing being done? What lab? Is it close by? Or?
No, That's right now we're trying to coordinate because the lab that they want us to use is in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh,
And they were originally looking at mailing the samples, so we've been working nonstop since when we got the call right before 5. And we've been, graciously everybody here, the council's been helping us out. We got so many people in the community. We got plenty of airplanes on standby right now to fly any of our employees up there to drop off the samples personally. We're just making sure that that's gonna work, what timing and addressing and where it needs to go. We're trying to find a closer lab that can do the sampling faster for us. But there's still a waiting period, an incubation period for those samples before they can test them. So we're trying to figure out all of the logistics of that to try to get this lifted as soon as possible.
And what is the incubation period, you said?
It varies. Some of them might be up to 2 days. But the sooner we get those samples to them, the faster we can start that period and get the testing going.
So incubation is when it arrives at the lab?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this might be a couple-day thing that we'll have to be dealing with until we get the results back.
Yeah, worst
Okay.
case scenario, I think we're looking at Tuesday. We're trying to get it sooner. We're hoping that we can get stuff in, and hopefully by this weekend, at the end of the weekend, we can get it lifted.
Okay.
Have we gotten word out to all of the restaurants in town?
We've been pushing out as much as we can through the news media, through our medias, reverse 911s. We've had a lot of restaurants call in already and start asking more clarifying questions. We are going to have the staff on call here at City Hall day tomorrow too, taking phone calls and answering that. Staff at Public Works has their phones forwarded to their cell phones, so they get calls tonight. They can address some of those questions as well. And then PD also has the dispatch answering phone calls.
Is there a standard verbiage that they're using? I wouldn't like someone to be,
Yes.
making
And then
sure
we
the
just-
message is
we,
being correct.
At the very beginning, just to get the word out, immediately we pushed out not to use the water. Since then, we got the official notice from TCQ that's required with a statement in English and Spanish, and that was pushed out just a little while ago. And the main thing is, it's only used for washing clothes and for using the restroom, nothing else. And make sure also that you're not giving that water to your pets, because they're consuming it as well.
Sure.
Like I said, it's just precautionary.
Correct.
It's a possibility. It doesn't mean it happened. We're just being safe about it, make sure we cover everything and that our drinking water stays safe.
Okay, but staff, the ones that are answering the phone, they have
Yes.
the verbiage that they need to give the
I
residents.
sent an email with the verbiage to all city
Okay.
users, so everybody got an email with the verbiage that's being used, and that was read tonight in the ordinance that was passed, the
So
emergency.
that way we have the consistent,
Yes.
concise message going out.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have two questions that people called me. They said if they add bleach to their water, could they still do some dishes that they have?
No, the official
what I
notice
told
that
them.
was sent out by TCQ right now, you can't boil it, you can't freeze it, you can't add chlorine or bleach to it.
And what about adding water to their swimming pools?
If you're using water, you're swimming in it, and you can't use it for showering, so as a
Just
precaution.
reading you questions.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lynn Pierce, EOC Director, has additional information.
But I want to say something. I want to thank the Nueces County Judge, Barbara Canales, and the mayor from Corpus Christi, Paleta, Guajardo, and Sean Strawbridge, reaching out. If there's anything that we needed from water, we're going to have different spots that we're going to supply waters, and then we have our San Patricio County Judge, David Krebs, here also to assist with whatever else we need. And I want to give thanks to them.
Thank you.
Mayor, council, you're exactly right. I've received dozens of calls and texts and messages from all of our neighbors. They're all willing to help, just asking what they can do. This is obviously an evolving situation, but we've put a lot of things in place. We do have to plan on this through at least Monday morning, because even if we get the samples to the lab right now, they're telling us that it'll be Monday morning before we can possibly get those results. So that in mind, I can tell you we already have over 240 pallets of water on the roads. They're headed this way. We're going to set up our points of distribution tomorrow. We also have several tankers that are in the works. We're operating with the dialysis center. They have a high need of water there. And matter of fact, it may have already been delivered. So we're on top of that. Long-term, it's not as bad as it usually is, guys.
Yes.
Because guess what? This is only an Aransas Pass problem. We still have grocery stores and Walmarts and other cities. We reached out early on to Walmart in HEB to let them get their supply line headed this way and add them to the list of people that's called and said, what can we do? And matter of fact, they're sending a tanker truck of potable water. Will be one of our points of distribution tomorrow. The food bank is on standby. We're kind of feeling to see what that need is going to be because we don't want to overload ourselves with logistics here. If we don't need it, we don't want it to be here for us to deal with. But as we need it, it's on standby, and we can get it here pretty quick. But again, communications, you can imagine our dispatch center has been blown up, Facebook's blown up, and as always, there's some misinformation. Some of the news services put out false information, and of course, there's always those Facebook experts that are putting out information. This is still a possible contamination. We're going above and beyond just to make sure that everybody's safe. This is not caused by the city. We're just the victims of it, and we're doing our best to keep everybody safe until we know exactly what we're dealing with. Oh, on the testing, to get it there right now, the governor's office is being contacted. It may get to fly on his plane. So we'll see. And just before we started this meeting, I was notified that our employees cannot deliver the samples. It has to be a TCEQ employee to maintain the chain of custody.
So
But
can we have a city employee or a city representative for that sample also?
We can send, yes, depending on the size of plane we end up with. Any questions?
And you'll continue to update us all so we can update our community.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the correct time to say this, but I had talked to Fernando earlier, and we do have a jet that's available as well.
We're still working on some logistics, but
Okay.
yes,
If the
yeah,
governor
you're-
wants to
you're-
come get it, that's even better.
You're on the list, trust me.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, we just gotta make sure that that sample gets taken and flown or driven or wherever it needs to go and get the results back as fast as possible, so we can get over this.
Right.
Yeah, and I think update the public just to keep everybody at ease.
Absolutely, yes.
That's the main thing that we need to be doing.
We will be updating you also on the transportation issue, no small issue,
Correct.
on where it can go, where it should go, and how we're gonna get it there. I anticipate after this meeting, staff is gonna be working on finalizing, because that's up in the air right now, finalizing that critically important point. And we'll keep you updated as we do finalize that.
Well, I'm available to drive with it, fly with it, or wherever.
Okay, very good, excellent.
Will the lab that it's going to be waiting for us, are they going to close down for the weekend?
Lynn and Fernando?
If we fly to Savannah, the lab will have an employee there to meet and take the sample.
Okay, just want to make sure on that.
That's all we have.
Thank you all for everything that you do.
Thank you.
And all the
guys.
support
Yeah.
and all the updates. And this too will get through.
Yes, we will.
This too shall pass.
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.